From the time we're very little, we construct an image of who we are. We select from the many experiences the ones that bring us the most attention, the most praise. And we become very attached to this idea of who we are, that we are this kind, thoughtful, talented, caring, generous person. And that idea gradually becomes for us our ideal. This is who we should be. And we accept the burden of becoming this ideal person. That also means working hard to eliminate behaviors that don't fit the ideal. And that's one of the problems that surfaces. Everything we exclude from our definition of ourselves becomes a kind of threat. And secondly, we become preoccupied with how do I make this ideal me last? So fear and yearning become the atmosphere for our guardian self. Fear is the footprint of our attempt to make ourselves invulnerable, and longing is the footprint of our attempt to make ourselves permanent. The more we create our identity based on how different we are and separate from one another, the more we see ourselves as a commodity competing in a world of limited resources. And because that's how we see the world and see ourselves, our attitude quickly becomes reduced to greed and violence and domination. We need more power, more possessions. This fear always remains. And we see it, this fear and this longing, at work in our attitude to hospitality. Who should I invite to the party? Will this person help me to be secure, or are they going to be a threat to my security? When we think like the world thinks, we experience that we are against one another. We're hostile towards one another. But in the community of Jesus, we're invited to see that we're all connected, that we possess a communal identity, that our feelings for other human beings emerge into a kind of common consciousness. What does this look like? Well, if you were to imagine looking at the petals of a great flower, a beautiful rose, for instance, at the tips, the petals are all separate. They don't overlap. They don't even touch. But as we approach the center of the flower, we overlap more and more with a greater number of petals. Once we start to think of ourselves that we really are the poor, the blind, the lost, the maimed, when we start to think of ourselves as like everyone else, we begin to see and include more places where we overlap. Until finally at the center we overlap every petal. This new consciousness even includes people who are distant from us. It shouldn't be strange that we should know what is in someone's heart who is far from us, because we are connected at deeper levels than we could ever imagine. In the early church, we catch a glimpse of these discoveries. Baptism in the early church was seen as illumination, as awakening to the awareness that God and I are one. Illumination caused people to stop seeing everything as outside themselves. They stopped seeing persons as separate beings and began to see other people as beings who are inside one another. We became aware that we're part of God and that God lives in us. We participate in God, and we're part of a new communion of brothers and sisters. This new unity is vertical and horizontal, and it includes two actions: pouring ourselves out, emptying ourselves out, and becoming food for others. The world pushes us to see ourselves as separate from one another. And so we try to quell this fear by seeking possessions, honors, acclaim. Christians place the outcome of their lives in the hands of God. They live permitting the Lord to choose their reward. We need to allow the Lord to look after the reward of our existence. Jesus offers us a way of peace, of living as children of a loving and providential Father. Instead of constantly seeking, how can I be secure? How can I secure a higher place? Imagine the peace of knowing that the Father, in His love, will one day assign us to the place that is right for us. And when that day comes, we will feel right at home.